Good morning, April 23, 2023. It's a Sunday, 6 something, almost 7 o'clock in the morning. We still having this rain. Yes, on April 23rd, year 2023. Today's story, gonna record all this process. I don't know if I'm gonna post it or not. Um, this is about. This is. We bought this car year and a half ago from a, you know, used dealer, car dealer, whatever you call it. We bought it used. It's a 2016. It's a. I don't know if I can. Silver. I don't know. I don't have a good focus, but there is. Years 2016 Mercedes-Benz C300. It's got a four-cylinder 2.0 turbo. We're still doing payments on it. Like a 4 or 5 year loan. But this for the daughter, for the oldest daughter, which now she's driving a different car because this car was in the dealership for 6 months or over 6 months. We brought it in November. Let me see if I can find the date here. Well, this, I don't know why it says this paperwork, they gave it to me yesterday. No, this is the date for the car. Anyway, let me see. I just grabbed the car yesterday. I was so mad, and this is at the dealership, Mercedes-Benz dealership in Seattle, here in Washington State. So like I said, daughter was driving it for work. It's under my name, the loan, because was she was gonna pay a lot of interest, so it's under my name. We got a low interest because I got a good credit, and she's a co-signer, so she can start building her credit. She's been doing the payment. It's about 500 and something, 540, $550 a month, just for the monthly payment plus insurance. I'm paying on the insurance. You as a parent, you always try to help your kids, even if they're grown. She's 25 years old. She's got a daughter, a 3-year-old daughter now, and uh, the father of the granddaughter, it was just one of those guys that they're not worth it, lazy, no work. My daughter was paying for the rent and bills and everything, so finally she got rid of him. So, and she met this other guy and married him, and they just started making the life together, and kind of like a little hard time, paying apartment rent. He does work, so she's got a big help there right now. But as the parent, you still helping your kids even if they're all grown. So anyway, I don't know if I can make this short or not, but so one day she calls me. The car, if the checking light came on, and it's like, you know, the the idle. The idle. It's funny. Okay, so she bring when we bought it, when we were at the dealer getting the loan for it or getting the car. They always trying to sell you as much as they can. I was like, nope, no warranty. When I buy my things, I never pay for an extra warranty. You'll understand why on this video or the next video, or I don't know how many uh, parts we're gonna do this video. But so ladies, yo, sell you this extra warranty, blah blah blah. I don't remember how many miles in the car, whatever. All I needed, or we went and traded in. She had a Nissan Leaf, which is just a piece of junk. When she got it out of the dealer, another car lot, another used car dealer, uh, she used her name and social security number and everything, and they gave him the 29% interest. So I don't know, the car it was worth 3 or 4 thousand dollars, and she had a loan for like 15 or something like that, because of interest. So we went and traded in this. She got a better interest, and so anyway, the lady is trying to sell us an extra one. I'm like, nope, 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 no. Oh, it's only $50. Oh, nope. I fix it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm always busy working on, you know, people's. Well, I'm always busy at my job, at my work. I'm a pump operator, and I'm always busy with the family. I'm always busy at home doing this, doing that for for the wife, for the kids, taking the kids to these classes, to these other things, Saturday and Sunday, family, always busy on my own stuff. I own, several cars. I own a semi truck that is not commercial. It's, so we can pull our RV and stuff. I'm always busy. My mom calls me and she needs a house repair, because she knows I can do everything. So she calls me instead of hiring somebody and spend money. So it's my mom. I have to go help. My sister calls me. She's got problems with her car. Blah blah blah. So like I said, I'm always busy. I don't have an extra time to work on something else, right? Busy working on somebody, just friends and family working on their cars because obviously they take it to the shop and they just get ripped off. Especially, I had friends that they have BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, Land Rovers, Chevys, Dodges, whatever, Subarus. They take it to the dealership and they just about to get ripped off, and they call me, they text me, and I always tell them, on my videos, on TikTok videos, on Facebook videos, and everywhere videos, I always tell them, call me, text me. I might not be able to answer right away. I might not be able to type, to text back right away, but before you get ripped off, call me, because these guys, mechanics and dealerships especially, they're the biggest thieves. So anyway, back to the Mercedes. We took it in November 2022. I would say the very first or second week of November. And I just looked at the screenshot in my phone. I was going through my pictures and videos to erase, you know, a lot of the videos that I already posted on social media. So I have enough memory, enough room in my phone to do this video because I want to make sure that people out there get the message and then really they don't get ripped off. I feel sorry for the ladies, for the women, girls, females that they go there and then last time I worked on a Subaru, my boss's granddaughter, she texted me and she sent me all the pictures and whatever the Subaru dealership was trying to get ripped off. She sent me a video about her body and it was not even hers. So, the video that they sent her. So I was like, man, this is ridiculous. So anyway, so took this in. Well, went back to when we were getting the car. So finally, I told my daughter, pay the extra. I don't know how much was, like 20, $30 a month for the extended warranty. I told her because I don't have the time to work on, and even if well, no, it's not that even if I have the time, I know I wasn't gonna have the time. So I'm like, just take it to a shop, or we take it to a shop. I'll talk to them. I'll let them know that I'm a mechanic, so that way they won't try to scam, or they won't try to steal, or they won't try to tell you something that doesn't even make sense. When I was at the dealership, Mercedes dealership, I heard one of the guys talking with a customer, telling telling him or her a story about a timing chain on a Mercedes. I was like, something that doesn't even make sense. But I was busy doing my own business with the guy at Mercedes-Benz dealership, So anyway, she got the extra extended warranty. So we took it in because one time, one day she called me, the car checking in light, blah, blah. So she brought it in here. It was a Saturday. So I started working on it because I figured maybe just that's just a coil, because I scanned it and showed me the cylinder number one has a misfire. So I scanned it, and me and the son-in-law start working on it. Start taking all these cover off, and underneath there you have your coils, your spark plugs, your injectors. So we took that off, and then I was like, maybe it's a coil, maybe it's a spark plug, maybe it's injector. Okay, so we took spark coil cylinder number one and swap it on cylinder, I don't know, two, three, four, whatever, and took the spark plug out, inspected. Didn't look bad, but it was a little bit wet from fuel or gasoline. So I switched it over to a different cylinder than the coil. Put everything back, started, and still missing. So I'm checking it with the scanner, and there is misfire cylinder number one. Okay. So and then I'm like, maybe the injector. Okay. I have a scanner, so I don't have anything, like a lab scope or laptop or some sort of a program that, you know, you can tell from the computer, from the lab scope, if the injector is working or not, or this, sensors or why not. So took it all apart. This time is a lot more work because, you got to take a lot more parts out of the way to get to the injectors. They're long injectors, blah, blah, blah. So again, we switch the injector number, cylinder number one, to the different cylinder, the one that we haven't touched, coil and spark plug, right? Switch it over, and put it all back together. Nothing. So we spent, I don't know, maybe a couple hours, trying to figure it out and hook the scanner and check parameters and some of the sensors, some of the readings, long and short field trim and blah blah. So I don't know, 2 3 hours on a Saturday when it was supposed to be with a family, right? And so I told my dad, you know what? This seems to be going farther than a coil spark plug injector, so it requires more time, more tests, compression test, cylinder leak down test, smoke test, or whatever. I do have all that testers tools to do that, but I'm like, why would I be? That's exactly why I told her to get the extra warranty, so I don't have to invest the time in it, and I can work on something else or do something else or spend time with the family. So she calls around, local shops. They're all busy. They're 2 3 weeks out. So I'm like, hey, call Mercedes-Benz dealership. She calls the one here in Tacoma, which is a lot more closer to where we live than the one in Seattle. She calls Mercedes-Benz dealership in Tacoma or Lakewood, whatever. And yeah, same thing. They were about 2 3 weeks out before we can bring the car in. She needs the car for work. So now she's gonna have to borrow one of my cars. So and then I'm like, call the one in Seattle. Okay. Now I regret it big time. So she calls the one in Seattle and they said, oh yeah, bring it Monday at 5 or 6 o'clock, Okay. I'm like, okay, sweet. So we just put everything back together and took it in on Monday. So, 1 week, 2 weeks later, I call, what's going on? Oh, they can find the problem. Okay. Then they finally call me and say, oh, they found the problem. That's a wire issue. Uh, Rotten got in there and chewed on the wires. I'm like, no, I didn't. Oh yeah, and coil number two, there is some wires that they've been chewed up. I'm like, you know what? I noticed that, but they're not being chewed up. They've been rubbed on this cover. I don't remember if yeah, you just pull that. Just pull that. So, cylinder one, two, three, and four. So these wires here, this is a new wiring harness. Just this one here, the one going to the coil and to the camshaft sensors to the coil. So this one here, it was like rubbed in with this thing. As you can tell, that's not a rim. So anyway, I told him I noticed that just the plastic, the insulation, it was kind of peeled off, but the wire didn't have no damage. Oh no, my technician said that's the problem. I'm like, that's cylinder number two, and the code is cylinder number one. Actually, I don't. No, this is not the. I was gonna say this paperwork is the uh, the amount of the cost of the repair. Anyway, $700 for, and then he told me we gotta replace the whole wiring harness around the whole, under the hood, around the whole engine, like everything, because it goes to the computer, blah blah blah. So he told me they were gonna replace all these wiring, all this wiring, because so they only replace the wiring going to the coils, camshaft sensors, and going down. I think it goes down to like the turbo, the wastegate turbocharge. And I'm like, okay, how much? He said it was 9,000 and something dollars, $700 for the wiring harness. The rest is labor because it's 20 some hours labor. I'm like, I can't do that probably in 2 3 hours. How much do you guys charge an hour? It's like it's $300 an hour. I'm like, okay. And it's crazy. I'm like, no, that's not a problem. Are you gonna guarantee that that's gonna fix the problem? He's like, well, we gotta replace that in order so we can keep doing a diagnostic. I called the extra warranty. They don't cover that. So my daughter searched it up and find out that the insurance on the car, they can pay for it. So I called the insurance and they say, oh yeah, you just gotta pay the deductible. The deductible was $500. That's all we paid. And the insurance paid that, gave him a check for like 9,000 bucks and something plus or $500 deductible that we pay at the dealership. It was almost 10,000. I don't know, like 97, 9,800 bucks, something like that, something crazy. Okay, so they call me like, the car is ready, come pick it up. Okay, so we go pick it up, and this is like, I don't know, a month after they finally got the okay from the insurance. I think it was on like January when, okay, come and get your car. So we go, and I have a video too when my daughter and I went to pick up the car, and I told her, hold on, don't start it, don't fire it up, open the hood. So we opened the hood. The first thing I seen, it was this thing, the snorkel. It was not in there, like it was all off and out, and it was not installed. You know, then it had a hand, grease handprint on here and on, in here around the hood and stuff. So I'm like, really? They couldn't even wipe that off, clean it or whatever. So pop up, pop the hood up and checked around and found that out. And so I put it back in place. So I told my daughter, okay, go ahead and start it. And I'm recording. And as soon as she started, the engine goes like, "Bup, bup, 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 bup." Just the same exact state that we brought it in. So I was like, what's going on? I asked my daughter, is the check engine light on? She's like, no. I'm like, yeah, obviously it's not on because they just, they just worked on it and they haven't even tested on the road, and so we just went around the parking lot and it's the same exact thing. I forgot to bring my scanner that day, and I went back inside with the guy in service, which they don't know anything about mechanic. They just talk to the customer and they just repeat whatever the mechanic saying. I went back in there and I told him, your mechanic didn't fix the problem. He's like, he got pissed off at me. He's like, my technician? I'm like, you know what? To me, he's not mechanic. He's not even a technician at all. Not even 1%. To me, it's probably like a bakery guy. I think he's on the wrong field. I think he's on the wrong place. He needs to go to a bakery shop and then start doing some cakes or something, because obviously he didn't know anything. And he's all pissed off at me. Well, that's the technician does his work and stuff. I'm like, well, he didn't this time. Well, what's going on? I explain him, still has some misfire. Is the checking light on? I'm like, no, of course not. If you want the checking light come on, take the car out on the road and drive it for like at least 30 miles, and then you'll have the check-in come on. Okay? And I had to explain him. And when we drop off the car, I told him this car belongs to a mechanic, and I explained the whole story. I choose to get the extra warranty because I don't have the time to work, or I don't want to spend the time to work on it, since it's kind of cheap, 20, $30 a month to, for this. And I explained him, I already did this and this and this, so you can tell your guy that he's gonna work on, so he doesn't have to spend time and waste time. Oh no, he's got to do everything from the beginning. Okay, but anyways, I got back and I told him, no, the car is. It's a Friday when we went and pick it up. Everybody's gone, the mechanics and the guy that I talked to when I drop it off, and he's trying to tell me to take the car for the weekend and then bring it back on Monday. I'm like, no, I don't have the time to come back just to drop off the car. Plus, do you obviously you don't even know what kind of damage can cause having a misfire on an engine. You don't know what kind of damage is gonna cause, to the engine. It's getting, all that raw fuel going through the catalytic converter, which is gonna clog the catalytic converter, later or sooner, and blah blah blah. So obviously you don't know. So no, I'm not driving the car like that. Okay, you can leave it again, and the technician left for the day, and he's coming back on Monday, so I'll have him check. And I'm like, no, I don't want the same bakery guy work on my car and check it again, because obviously he don't know how to do a diagnosis. So he's getting even, he's getting really pissed off at me because what I'm saying, but I'm not telling him anything wrong. I'm telling him the truth. So he's like, okay, at this point I'm gonna have my foreman involved in this. I'm like, no, 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 no. He's just looking at me like, and I'm like, I don't want your foreman get involved. I want every single guy in the shop involved. Your foreman, your two, three, four, five mechanics or technicians. I want everybody involved because the car just got $10,000 invest or put in, and it's still exactly the same. And you guys trying to give the customer the car, back at this in the same state that the car is being left. Like, no. So he's like, okay, just leave it, and then I'll get it. I'll get it fixed. Okay. Again, a week or two later, I'm calling. What's going on? Oh, that's because we can't find the problem, and apparently it's an injector. Injector cylinder number one is not working. I'm like, no, it's not injector. I swapped injector. Actually, injector number one belongs to cylinder number, I don't know, two, three, four. It's not injector. It's not the wiring because you already did the wiring. Something else. Oh no, my technician said that we need to replace the injector. Okay, well, talk to the warranty or whatever. And yeah, that's what I did, and I'm waiting for their response. 2 3 weeks later, they replaced all four injectors, which doesn't seem like they've been replaced. I don't know how much money, but the auto parts, I asked at the auto parts, and they were like $500 or $600 per injector. You know, aftermarket or whatever. Auto parts part injector. So I could imagine Mercedes-Benz injector. You know, the original equipment injector is. So there is another at least 5 6 thousand dollars more, which I didn't have to pay. That was the insurance again, because they were able to get the money out of the insurance. They changed the injectors. They said nothing. So they, it's again 2 3 4 weeks later. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what the heck? Oh, we're gonna have to replace the engine mounts because the engine mounts they're shot. Actually, one is on the air. Okay, I didn't know they make floating engine mounts nowadays, but I was just like shaking my head, and I'm like, okay. So an engine mount is gonna fix a misfire on cylinder number one. Okay. So and then we just keep going. Like I said, since November, when April 20, what I said, 28. Let me check my phone again. 23rd, April 23rd. I'm sorry for this video that is too long, but it just, like I said, I'm gonna have to start doing the process. I'm gonna have to fix it myself now. Called the called the warranty, and they said they asked the dealership to just tell them. They did, their diagnostic. They said cylinder number one has no compression. I have the paperwork. I might just, find. Oh, it's right here actually. Okay, okay, okay. Cylinder number one and three has low compression. Confirm complaint, whatever that means. So, and anyway, all this that doesn't even make sense, and they did so. The guy tagged to the warranty, the extended warranty that we or my daughter was paying on or still paying on. The warranty guys told them, okay, we got you saying the compression cylinder number one and cylinder number three, they're low or whatever, so no compression, okay? Tell me the cause of the low compression, and then we'll send the guy and to confirm, and then we'll pay for the repair. Because first he told me they need to replace the whole engine. I was like, okay. And then because they talked to the warranty, and the warranty asked them to tell them the cause of the failure for not low compression, and then they will send the guy to confirm the problem and then pay for it. So obviously, and I don't know where they got this story or how they came up with this story, but the guy at the dealership, the service advisor, which is it's just a puppet on behind the phone and behind the desk, right? That he just repeats whatever the bakery guy tells him. So he called me. He's like, "Well, they just waiting on you to give us the green light to take the engine apart so they can come and see the problem." I'm like, "You don't have to wait for my green light. That's you guys' problem. That's between you and the warranty." No, because they said they not paying for the labor to take it apart if the the problem is not the engine. I'm like, obviously the engine has problem because you already replace injectors, spark plugs, coils, wiring, and what the heck? I mean, what is your lap scope? I mean, is your lap scope broken? Is your laptop broken? So, and he said, well, because they said we need to take it apart, find the problem, and if they decline to pay for the repair, you have to pay the labor to take the engine apart. I'm like, no, why? I'm not paying anything. That's you guys' problem. But and didn't want me to talk to the insurance or the warranty. I don't know for what reason, but I'm sure it is because all the time the car it was being there, and so finally I'm like, I don't know why you don't want me to talk to them. I mean, like I can talk to them and see what's going on because I'm paying for the freaking extended warranty, and they supposed to pay because it covers engine, transmission, differential, whatever. So okay, talk to them. But and he's trying to tell me to, you know, tell them a lie, something I don't know. But I'm like, no, I'm not gonna lie. I don't. I don't like to lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna tell him the truth. What's going on? And he's like, okay, but you just don't mention anything about the time of the car being in here. I'm like, why? Because they might just decline your repair, being this long. I'm like, well, yeah, because they're probably gonna think that you guys don't know how to work on Mercedes-Benz cars. So anyway, I called the warranty place. I didn't mention, how long it's been there. I just told them, hey, this is Alex and 2016 Mercedes-Benz. It's at the dealership of Mercedes-Benz in Seattle, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I found it. Okay. Oh, yeah. And then he started telling me, I'm like, what's the problem? Why you guys don't want to pay for the repair? He's like, well, we will as soon as they tell us what's causing the low compression. And I'm like, they already told you that it's low compression, so it's engine problem. They either got to do a cylinder head job or replace the engine. They said, no, we know that it's low compression. We need to know what's causing the low compression on these cylinders. Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, so you mean like they got to do a cylinder leak down test and stuff? He's like, because they record their phone calls. He's like, I can't tell you anything. I can't tell you what to do or how to do the job. I'm like, no, you're right. You're right. You can't tell a mechanic, how to diagnose the car. But so I'm like, okay, so but they said you guys request an engine disassemble, and he's like, no, we never told him to take the engine apart. We just told him to show us and give us proof what's causing the low compression. I'm like, okay, so I got you now. So as long as they do a cylinder leak down test, they'll be able to find out if it's, you know, intake valve, exhaust valve, or piston or rings, or if they do a smoke check, they'll be able to tell if it's, head gasket or a coolant test and see if it's all the combustion is going to the cooling system. Or he's like, well, like I said, I can't tell you anything. So I'm like, okay, I got you now. So but you guys never request to take the engine apart. He's like, nope. We the only thing we're requesting is to tell us what's the problem for having low compression. Okay, thank you. So I call back the dealership. I'm like, they never said you gotta take. Well, that's because otherwise they're not gonna be able to pay. They're playing smart here and then trying to not pay and stuff. Obviously, Mercedes-Benz, they're trying to swap the whole engine, which is probably over 1,000. I mean, 20 grand. Of course, between block and labor. And imagine they took 20 some hours just to change a one single harness, you know, thing. Imagine how many hours they're gonna try to charge to swap an engine. You know, like, so I'm just so pissed. I'm just so mad at these guys at dealership. They don't know anything about diagnose the car. They have. I don't think they don't have the tools or the test or lab scope or laptops, so they just don't know how to use them maybe or whatever. So I'm gonna start the process on this and find out myself, figure it out. I call the warranty. I'm like, hey, if I take it to another shop, will you pay and shit? And he's like, again, take it to a local shop. They gotta tell us what the problem is, and then we'll send our guy and confirm the problem, and then we'll pay. No problem. Okay. I'm like, what about if I fix it? Will you guys pay for the parts? And they're like, no, we can't do that. Yeah, obviously because I'm not a shop. But so I'm gonna try to find the problem. If it's a big problem, I have a friend with a shop, so I might just tell him to do the job. If it's something really expensive. You know how much is a used engine for this thing? Somewhere between 7,000 to $12,000 a used engine. So I'm not gonna put all that money on this engine. So I'm gonna see what the problem is, and I'll let you know on the next video. And like I said, hopefully this helps all the people out there that they get ripped off big time at local mechanic shops and especially dealerships. You know, my boss, my boss owns that 2007 GMC Yukon, and he was trying to send it to the dealership, to the GMC dealership. I'm like, no, no. I've been working for them for 18, almost 19 years in here, and their new cars that are still under warranty, they send them to the dealership. Yes, the cars that they're out of warranty, I since I've been working here, I'm like, nope, don't take them anywhere. Between your mechanic, their mechanic is a diesel mechanic, and I told him between him and me, we'll fix the things here. So we have never sent a car to dealership. They own a Kenworth that I'm driving and operating. It's a pump truck, one of those pump trucks. They all Mack, but the one they bought a couple years ago or a year and a half ago, brand new. So they gave it to me, and that's a Kenworth automatic. And it's been twice. We take it within the last 2 or 3 months back to the dealership, Kenworth. And guess what? Nothing but pay big time money. I told my boss, never again. Between your mechanic and we're gonna fix it because I know how to work on all these cars, whatever, Chevy, Dodges, Audis, Mercedes, whatever. Plus, I know diesel mechanic too. So, and he's been in the company for over 30 years, so he knows what he's doing. He used my help, I use his help, and then we can fix things. So, never again back to the dealership for any repairs. They don't know. See, this car Mercedes-Benz went to the Mercedes-Benz dealership. They couldn't. Kenworth went to the Kenworth dealership. They couldn't. So, just an advice: never take your cars to dealerships or local shops that they only rip you off. Please be smart. Get a second opinion or even three opinion if you can. Okay. If you have a friend that he knows mechanic, but a guy that he knows mechanic, no basic, a guy that he knows mechanic, just call him, text him, get an advice, don't get ripped off. Okay. See you later.